Hello, my name is Jay Plum and welcome to my 165-gallon reef tank. I wanted to give an update on how the XF-150 is working. As you can see, this is the far left side of my tank. Keep your eye on the sand bed here. That is indeed glass. And then we get into what I like to call the sand dune section. So just pulling that back a little bit. This is with the XF-150 mounted on the far right side of the tank, 4 inches below the water line. And I decided to run this on the alternating flow current at 80%. Because like a Ferrari, you kind of want to take this sucker out and see if it's doing what you paid for. If you can't tell, we've had some migration in the sand in 48 hours. It is literally creating dunes. Now, I did this not just to see how much force we've got, but also to look at how far across the tank the XF-150 can go. This is a 6-foot or 72-inch tank. And as you can tell, we've got some serious momentum going on here. That sand is all the way pushed down to the glass in these two areas. I do have it on the alternating gyre so that it is both pulling and pushing, and I have it set at a 10-minute interval. So this tells me a couple things. One, I have flow at insane amounts through 3/4 of the tank. And two, I probably don't want to run this at 80%. Part of this experiment was to see whether or not I wanted to invest in another and mount this gyre bar on the back of the tank on the right and then put another on the back of the tank in the left, which is what I'm going to go with. I'll be putting that order in from Dan Dave Awesome Guy. And just take a look. I mean, this is a serious piece of equipment. It is just pushing and pulling. There's huge amounts of detritus that it just keeps sucking up because at 80%, it's really pulling on that sand. I can kind of sit back and watch it just move. The crabs had a near panic attack when I turned this on, and everybody promptly fled to the other side of the tank. So that should tell you right there that this piece of equipment is well worth the money. I mean, when we think about pumps and equipment, what it's going to do for our tank, nobody's expecting that 3/4 of your tank in 6 feet is going to change. I have whirlpools forming in the top when this sucker changes from pushing to pulling that water forward. This is a great investment for anyone with a large tank, certainly anyone with a medium-sized tank. I think you could get away with one of these in a 90-gallon if you really mounted it appropriately. It's extremely easy to install. Setting the modes, fantastic. I can see the benefits to picking up a controller so that you've got a little bit more that you can work with. But what comes out of the box is sufficient unless you're really concerned about having lots of different flow patterns. You set one and you just kind of click through the options. It's completely intuitive and it'll run on that setting. You can just quickly change it if you'd like. It's very simple to change how much flow you've got going on in your tank and what the reactions are going to be. I obviously need to fix my sand and turn this puppy down. I'm going to dial this back to 60 and see if I'm still getting this amazing Sahara desert effect going on in the tank. I mean, there's rock that is completely unburied, and huge dunes. I mean, this is some serious flow. This is 48 hours of running the XF-150 on 80%. You can hear the water movement change. Astonishing the amount of detritus that it picks up. I highly recommend this to anyone out there. And as soon as I've got 2 days at 60%, I'm going to smooth all the sand out. We'll take a quick video, see where we're at there, and continue just dialing this back until you hit the perfect flow for the tank. And I think that's something anyone should bear in mind when they pick up a new piece of equipment. Test it out, really open it up, see what the maximum is that you can do. Obviously not a skimmer if you don't want it all over your floor. And then just work it backwards until it works for your tank. Everyone's aquascaping is different. Everyone's sand is different. I'm using a heavier coral rubble sand, and this is the movement I'm seeing. I couldn't even imagine, like a sugar fine sand, what this tank would look like. It would probably be a haboob in this tank every day, especially when the flow pattern changes. So I'll follow back up on this in another 48 hours, see what the progress is, see if we're still getting this effect or if it's dialed back a little bit, and we'll go from there. This is J Plum signing out.